Did you know that after reaching your first $100,000, your financial journey becomes much easier? Yes, you heard that right. The secret behind this is something simple but powerful: compound interest. If you are looking for financial freedom or want to accelerate your investments, understanding compound interest can completely change the way you see your money. In this video, we'll understand how this phenomenon works and why the first $100,000 are the hardest, but the next ones come much faster. Stay with me, because you will see how discipline and time can be your greatest allies. Let's get started. Let's begin with a simple explanation. Compound interest is nothing more than interest on interest. Unlike simple interest, which is calculated only on the initial amount of your investment, compound interest also takes into account the accumulated interest at each period. In other words, each new round of interest is added to the total value, not just the initial amount. This process generates a cumulative effect that intensifies over time, creating exponential growth of your investment. For example, imagine you invest $10,000 at a 10% annual rate. In the first year, you receive 10% on the $10,000, which is $1,000. In the second year, instead of receiving $1,000 again, you will receive 10% on $11,000, which is $1,100. This cycle repeats, and each year the amount of interest paid increases, making your money grow faster. It's like your investment is growing at an accelerated rate, like a snowball that gets bigger as it rolls. The secret behind compound interest is time. The more time your money has to accumulate, the stronger the effect of compound interest will be. At first, growth may seem small, but over time, this effect becomes increasingly powerful. That's why compound interest is called the eighth wonder of the world, because it has the power to turn small initial investments into large fortunes over the years. Reaching the first $100,000 is undoubtedly the biggest challenge for any investor. In the beginning, you need much more discipline and effort to make your money grow. That's because, despite being powerful, compound interest still doesn't have a solid base to work with, meaning the cumulative effect will be slower in the first years. The growth of your wealth depends more on your ability to save and invest consistently than on large initial returns. At first, every cent invested may seem like it's making no difference. Even with a decent return rate, the impact of growth is limited due to the initial amount. Often, the sense of progress is slow and frustrating. However, the key is to persist. Like a runner who starts a marathon, you may not see immediate results, but every step is important, and the continuous effort starts to bear fruit over time. It's important to remember that this initial challenge is completely surmountable. Many investors, including the most successful ones like Warren Buffett, started with modest amounts and were patient enough to see the results of their work over the long term. The secret is understanding that while the beginning is tough, reaching the $100,000 mark is the turning point. After that, the effect of compound interest begins to become more significant, accelerating the growth of your wealth in a surprising way. After reaching the first $100,000, the impact of compound interest starts to become more visible, and from that moment on, financial growth accelerates impressively. This happens because, upon reaching this amount, interest is now calculated on a larger amount, making the profits grow faster. For example, with an 8% annual return, you will start to receive more money each cycle, as interest is no longer calculated only on the initial $100,000 but on the accumulated total, which grows each period. Imagine that, after reaching $100,000, you continue investing with an 8% annual rate. In the first year, you would receive $8,000 in interest. In the second year, with the accumulated amount of $108,000, you would receive $8,640, and so on. As time passes, these amounts begin to grow exponentially, meaning the multiplication effect intensifies. This happens because the value of your investment expands rapidly, creating a self-sustaining growth cycle that becomes stronger over the years. This phenomenon is one of the greatest drivers of accelerated growth. What once seemed like slow progress now transforms into rapid and significant growth. The secret is reinvesting the profits and allowing the power of compound interest to work in your favor. Once you reach the $100,000 mark, your journey to the next financial milestone becomes easier and faster since you're no longer just investing your money, but also reaping the rewards of your accumulated growth. Now that you understand how compound interest works, the question is, how can you apply it in your daily life? The answer is simple: start as soon as possible. The big secret of compound interest is time. The earlier you start investing, the more time your money will have to grow. So, even if you start with small amounts, the long-term impact can be enormous. The first step is to take the first step. Don't wait to start with large sums. What matters is to invest consistently and with discipline. One of the most effective ways to apply compound interest is by regularly investing in index funds, retirement plans, or even long-term stocks and bonds. These types of investments directly benefit from the effect of compound interest. By investing continuously and reinvesting the profits, you will allow your capital to grow exponentially. Consider, for example, investing $500 a month. Over 10, 20, or 30 years, your amount will multiply significantly, taking full advantage of compound interest in your favor. However, a crucial point is having patience. Don't touch your money. Let it grow. The biggest mistake you can make when applying compound interest is withdrawing the money prematurely. The secret lies in the discipline to keep your investments for long periods, allowing the multiplying effect of time and interest to work. Even smaller amounts, when applied consistently and with patience, can turn into large fortunes. Remember, time is your greatest ally when it comes to compound interest. Now that you know the power of compound interest, it's time to apply this knowledge to your financial journey. Remember that, while reaching the first $100,000 is the biggest challenge, that's just the beginning. The secret to accelerating your financial growth lies in understanding how compound interest works and how it can transform small savings into large fortunes over time. Patience and discipline will be your greatest allies in achieving true financial freedom. With the right strategy, you will see how compound interest can work in your favor, making your money grow exponentially. What once seemed like an insurmountable challenge now transforms into an easier and faster journey once you hit that initial milestone. And as the interest compounds, the next $100,000 will come faster, and your wealth will multiply impressively. So, don't rush, but be consistent and stay on the right track. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content on how to reach your financial goals. The journey to financial freedom begins with the first step, and now you know how compound interest can be the key to speeding up that process. Keep investing in your future, and in the next videos, we'll explore more strategies to make your money work for you. See you then.